You are now tuned in to the Smitty Woo Show, where friends tackle sports, current events, and entertainment. Now, welcome your host, Smitty Woo.
What up? What up? We back on the Smitty Woo and Friends show. I know we've been gone for a little bit, but we back. Come and bring you all that entertainment, sports talk. You know how we do. But this show, we're going to focus a lot on the NFL. It's going to be all NFL. We know the season's right around the corner. So we're going to get into some predictions, get into some teams that, we think that we'll have some may surprise and surprise some people coming up, and some teams are going to fall off possibly. So before we get into it, let's bring in the guest. The guest just dropped off for a second. So when he comes back, I'll bring him in. We're going to have Beanie come in. Y'all remember him from previous shows, and he also has his separate podcast that he does. He's representing Atlanta, so he's going to stay up with us a little bit, East Coast time. So we'll get him back in a minute. But just kind of to let you know what's been going on, there's been a lot of things happen up until this point where we haven't done shows. There's been multiple things that's come up, but I plan on doing a show for you on a regular basis, get everything going for us, and get us back to enjoying the sports talk, enjoying the banter, enjoying all that. So we got Beanie back. What up, Beanie? You muted right now. Got you muted.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It went dead for a second, and all of a sudden it came back. I didn't have to log in.
Oh, it's all good. Well, good to have you, man. Appreciate you showing us love from Atlanta. Hopefully y'all wasn't affected too much by all them storms that's been hitting the coast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we just got a lot of rain, man. It was pouring down raining for a couple of days. No major flooding or anything like that. We had some wind, but that's about it. We didn't really get too much of nothing. So cool. It was good. I'm happy to be here, man. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
I know you're a busy man. You got all your little projects on the side coming up. We'll give you a chance to shout out them shows later on. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Get people tuned in. But as I mentioned, we're getting ready to talk about NFL. My first sports love. I know it's up there with you. I know you in basketball, and you love everything, baseball, basketball. But I know with you spending a lot of time in Texas, the football bug got you quite a bit.
Oh yeah. I love football, man. That's my favorite. That's probably my favorite one. Football is, it's everything about football. College football, you got games on right now. Virginia Tech and North Carolina. You got Notre Dame and Florida State this weekend on a Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. That's why I got the hat on. Hopefully Derek sees this. I know he ain't really been talking that much about Florida State lately. So it is what it is. They trash.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely in the Florida. I think he started like a Florida State just around the Deion era, and it's just holding on to dear life with it. But he may tell you something. Yeah, it's over with. So to get started, we're going to break down division by division. Then we're going to get to obviously Super Bowl predictions, and we're going to start off in the East, AFC East, that is.
Oh, okay.
So we have the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets. What do you see going on with that division this year?
Well, no doubt the Buffalo Bills are probably the top of that division. Of course, they're most complete team, you might say, from an offensive, defensive standpoint. they're able to do everything on the football field, defensively and offensively. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball. When you got a guy like Josh Allen and you got, you know, Stephon Diggs, man, what can you say? That guy put up numbers last year. He came over there and he did his thing. So, teams are going to have their hands full in that division. Miami's tough. Miami can be tough. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say tough because Tua is still an unknown, right? Matter of fact, I think they cracked the door open to possibly trying to get Deshaun Watson over there somehow. So, I don't think they're really believers in Tua, and I don't think I am either. I think he's just a decent guy, a decent quarterback, but he's not really, nothing to hang your hat on, you might say. Miami, they got talent out there, but that's the missing piece right there. Defensively, they're tough though. They will be real good too. They got two great cornerbacks, and whenever you can cover on the back end, that allows your guys up front to really rush the quarterback and get after people. So, they're going to be tough defensively, but offensively is where they're lacking. New England, you got Mac Jones, man. Mac Jones is – I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in the whole, Tom Brady 2.0 or whatever you want to call him or whatever. I'm just not a believer in it. So, maybe it happens. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. They got rid of Cam. They're going to move forward with him. He's unathletic. He doesn't have a strong arm. But I guess when you play dink and dunk, you know what I mean? That's what they do. So it is what it is. And then, of course, you got the Jets, and they're the lowly Jets. So I don't even think they're worth talking about, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Patriots. What do you think about that move? I know you mentioned, you're not really a big fan of Mac Jones. Not a strong arm, unathletic. And obviously he's had a comparison to somebody else at the Patriots who had not a strong arm and not athletic, and Tom Brady, which is obviously stupid with how a person playing one NFL game. But the comparisons are out there. What do you think prompted the move to Mac Jones and releasing Cam Newton? And did you agree with it? Like if they felt that Mac Jones won the starting job, do you agree with how they handle it?
I don't think he won the starting job. Everybody says, did he win the starting job? I don't think he won the starting job at all. He played decent, but let's be real. This is preseason. And if you really watch the preseason game, you see the teams are not scheming for anybody. They're not really trying to stop anybody. All they're doing is trying to work on specific areas of their team. They're trying to get looks at people. So there are some situations where they put people in bad situations to see how they react. Let's see what my defense does here. Let's see what the offense can do here. Let's see how this guy reacts to the situation. So, they're letting Mac Jones pretty much do whatever he wants out there. He threw the ball 57 times. Cam Newton threw it like 21 times. You know what I mean? So you didn't really give Cam Newton opportunity out there like you did Mac Jones. But they were trying to look at Mac Jones, and I get that. He played decent. He played okay. He didn't set the world on fire, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. Everybody says that he outplayed Cam Newton and won the job, and I don't think that was the case at all. I think the reason Cam got let go, there's two reasons why he got let go. Number one, he sent out that tweet or Instagram post or whatever talking about loyalty or whatever. When you do that, when you cause waves, you might say, in the Patriot system, Bill Belichick doesn't like that. He wants everybody to be robotic, you might say, right? That's what I've seen, right? Yeah. Tom Brady, you see how Tom Brady acts now as opposed to how he was when he was with New England. It's a totally different person almost. So you got that situation, and then you had the COVID situation. You know what I mean? He flew to Atlanta to go to a doctor, have a doctor's visit or something, which was stupid on his part. He put himself in that situation to jeopardize his money. He had $3.5 million guaranteed, so he got that. But they can cut you, and you don't have the opportunity to make $12 million like you could have now. So, that was a stupid decision on his part to go do that. But when you do that, when you're 32 years old, Bill Belichick other teams, they're not looking at you and saying, okay, we can deal with the Twitter or Instagram post, vagueness of it. Was it directed at the coaches? Was it directed at, New England fans? Was it directed at his family? He said it was something to do with his baby mama and kids and stuff like that. So, I take him at his word for it, but in New England, they still don't like that type of stuff. So that's one issue. The other issue was, how do you not know the COVID protocols? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what you do with you do this to make a living. You signed a contract, make $12 million, and you jeopardize it by, flying to Atlanta to go see a doctor when you could have visited a doctor in New England. You know what I mean? It just didn't make sense. So you got to sit out 5 days or whatever it is, miss practice, miss all this stuff. Bill Belichick's not going. He don't like that type of stuff. So they moved on from it. I don't think it was performance based. I think it was that situation. And being 32, 31 years old, there's less. If Cam was 25, he'd have got away with it. They would have brought him back. They would have let him start. Blah 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 blah. But you're 32. They're not going to put up with that type of stuff when you're 32 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the division pretty similar. I do have the Bills winning the division. A lot of people were speaking about the Bills having a domination kind of that division, kind of how New England dominated that division. And I don't see that at all. I think that the fact that you have 3 young quarterbacks that have a potential, even if you don't have confidence in Mac Jones, generally everybody has confidence in Bill Belichick, right? People think that I'm forgetting his name, the Jets quarterback, the first round pick,
Zach
Wilson, they think he's going to be a superstar. Well, if he turns into a superstar, the quarterback's in number 1 position on a team, so you don't know what you can have there. And then really the Dolphins defense is dominating. If Tua does well, they have a chance to be competitive as well. So I think that this is going to be a competitive division for years to come. Right now, I think it's the Bills' time. But next year, it may not be. We don't know, but we'll see. That's kind of my thoughts about it right now. So,
I mean, I get what you're saying, man. Zach Wilson, I mean, it's the Jets, though, man. I just don't trust the Jets organization. I don't trust them from top to bottom. I know they got a new coach and, different GM and all of that type of stuff or whatever. But I just don't trust it, man. It's the Jets, man. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. I look at the Jets almost similar to the Lions. You know what I mean? And Buffalo, like I said, Buffalo, they can have a slump too. They can go through a slump. I don't think they're going to dominate the division. I don't think they're that good yet. You know what I mean? Maybe they're good, but as far as just dominating the division like the Patriots were doing, I don't see that happening either. So I kind of agree with you on that tip right there.
All right. Well, that's the East. I think we're both in consensus. We have the Bills winning that division. We'll move on to the West. On the West, we have, which, I think the consensus is going to be the Chiefs, but, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers. For that division, I will have the Chiefs just because, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have a lot of talent, you have a defense that has been good enough with, when you have all that power. I think the only team that has a chance to challenge them is the Chargers, just because, I think they found their replacement for Phillip Rivers. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler consistently. I think he's going to do very well. I mean, the Raiders got problems, man. They got problems. I want to believe in them because I like rooting. I think Carr is, above average quarterback. If it's hard to be, unless you're the Patriots, it's hard to be a great offense when your best receiver is a tight end. So, I mean, Henry Ruggs got to make some strides. I mean, last year was, obviously well below where they were expecting to be, but that's the Raiders' way. They draft 5 fast wide receivers that don't live up to potential. Hopefully, I mean, this is just his second year. This is the year he's supposed to make his jump. That's the statistics. Second year wide receivers, that's when you're supposed to see that jump. I mean, he has all the opportunity in the world to do that. The Raiders were competitive, the most competitive team in the division against the Chiefs last year. Beat them one time and then was close the second time. So they have pieces there, but it's just the Chiefs division. The Broncos, really not much to speak about. I think Judy will make some strides if they can get the quarterback play better. But I think it's the Chiefs division to lose, and that's just how I see it. The Chargers will make a stab at it, but it's a Chiefs or bust to me.
I feel you. I think with the Chiefs winning 5 straight division titles, I think it is now. They're going for 6 this year straight.
Yeah.
I think they they're in the driver's seat, you might say, right? But the longer it goes, man, the easier it is to fall, to be honest with you. So, I'm looking at the Chiefs and I'm saying, yeah, they got a lot of things going for them, but they also have a retooled offensive line. And if you look at the Super Bowl, when they played in the Super Bowl, that offensive line was pathetic, right? So how fast are they going to come together, that retooled offensive line? I mean, you brought in a guy who was retired last year. You know what I'm saying? And Kyle Long, he's now out there in Kansas City playing, what is it, right guard or is it right tackle? One of the two.
I think it's right tackle, I think.
Right tackle? Okay. So you got him, you got Eric Fisher who's gone now. You know what I mean? So you got some situations there that, the line has to come together. And in football, you win and you lose in the trenches. Everybody's always concerned about quarterbacks, and they're concerned about these skill position, fast, speedy wide receivers. We can throw the ball all day. If you don't have a consistent offensive line that can either open up holes or pass block like crazy, you're not going to win games in the NFL. It ain't going to happen. And if you can't get after the quarterback, you're not going to win games either. So those two things are the most important things on the football field, even though the quarterback position is the most important positional player. If you can't win in the trenches, it don't matter how much skill your quarterback has. He's going to get beat up. He's going to get rocked, and he'll be sitting out. So, can they protect Patrick Mahomes? That's the question. I don't know. I have to see what they're able to do. If that offensive line can gel, then yeah, they'll put up the numbers and they'll do what they normally do in the Andy Reid offense. The Chiefs, not the Chiefs, but the Chargers, they're still learning, man. They're like babies out there, right? In my opinion. They got some pieces, they got some real good pieces. But they're still babies in my opinion. So I don't look to them to really, take a stranglehold or take over the division or anything like that. They have some pieces, but in this league, man, it's a league that you have to go out there and you have to consistently do it every single year. And I like what Justin Herbert did. I'm not knocking on him at all. Played awesome last year. But we've seen quarterbacks come in and play real good in their first year, and then we've seen them take a back seat, you know what I mean, and fall off. That well, with RG3. You know what I'm saying? With Kirk Cousins. That very well, right, Marshall? Can you agree?
Why we bring up old stuff, though?
I'm just asking, can we agree to that, though?
Yes, we can agree.
Okay, all right. That's all I wanted to know, if we could agree to it. That's all.
Yeah.
But we've seen that happen several times. So it is what it is, But we'll see. They got pieces. Keenan Allen is a stud, man. I love Keenan Allen. I think he's like the most underrated wide receiver in the game. I mean, for what he does on the field, he consistently puts up numbers. He's tough, man, and he's not the fastest dude. He's not the strongest, but he's just good. He's just real good. He's better than Mike Thomas, I believe. That's just my opinion. If somebody want to argue me about it, let me know. Let me head over to what is it? The Broncos. They got quarterback issues. Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy two gloves. Never trust a quarterback that wears two gloves. That's all I'm saying. Never trust a quarterback that wears two gloves. That's not a recipe for putting up major numbers at the quarterback position. I don't believe in Denver. You know what I mean? I don't believe in Drew Lock. I don't believe in Teddy Bridgewater. I think Denver will probably be, last in the division, to be honest with you. The Raiders, everybody likes to bang on John Gruden. And I know that's everybody's favorite, like, whipping boy, because he talks a lot and people don't agree with what he says and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think Gruden is a good coach, man. That's my opinion. I think he knows football. I think he knows football. He knows how to put guys in the position to win. They don't have the talent to do that yet, right? But he knows how to put guys in the position to win. And people bang on him about his drafting and things like that, but he's got some good players, man. He got some talented guys. When you draft a Henry Ruggs, it's not a lot of wide receivers that come in and just set the world on fire. You got a few of them, like Justin Jefferson or somebody like that, but it's a hard position to play in the NFL. Wide receiver is, because it's timing. You know what I mean? It's things like that. If you're not a crisp route runner, if you relied more on your speed and talent in college and in high school, you have a difficulty adjusting to timing routes and all those types of little things that make a wide receiver better than what he was, right? That grow, running the different routes on the route tree and stuff like that. So, he's got some things he needs to work on, but I think he's a real good player. I think he'll be fine. Josh, what's his name? What's the running back? Josh Jacobs. Jacobs is a good running back. I think he's a little bit overrated, and I say that because, him and David Montgomery in Chicago, they came out in the same year, and I think David Montgomery's better, but he doesn't get any play. He doesn't get any play at all, and he was number 4 in the league in rushing last year. We'll get to him later, though. We'll get to him later. And then, you got who else is over there in that division? That's about it, right? So
yeah, that's it. That's 4.
Yeah.
So, I think we're in agreement with Chiefs this year. But there's teams can make a couple moves and they could be coming.
I think the Raiders could take the Chiefs out for that division if they play well, and if the Chiefs struggle in that offensive line. I think the Raiders could move up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the South. AFC South, and we got the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Titans. I think this will be probably the new NFC East. I don't think this division is good at all. But I mean, I think if Tennessee doesn't win this division, it's a huge upset. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. You look at some of those teams, and what can you say good about Jacksonville? What can you say good about Houston? What can you say good about Indianapolis? Clearly, Houston, Deshaun Watson's not playing there anymore. Yeah, that's clear. We know that to be the case, right? He's in camp, whatever. I don't want to hear it. He ain't playing. He's not going to be there. They're going to trade him, do whatever they need to do with him, if they can trade him at this point. Jacksonville, I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. You got, a second-year running back. They got holes all over the field. It's not even worth talking about. Indianapolis has the best chance to be competitive with Tennessee, I guess, right? But they're lacking in several areas too. So Tennessee, this is their division to win. It's theirs to lose. I think Tennessee is a tough team. Whenever you can run the ball the way Derrick Henry does, man, you know, it makes Ryan Tannehill look better than what he is because he's trash. He's sorry to me, but you know, he works for that offense. Let's put it that way. He works for that offense, and as Derrick Henry goes, the Tennessee Titans will go.
Yeah, and that definitely is going to, the acquisition of Julio Jones is going to open up the running lanes more. I mean, Julio Jones is older, but he's still Julio Jones. He's not, it's not like he's fallen off. He's had some injuries, but he's still Julio Jones. So you're not going to be able to stack the box against Henry. It's just going to open it more with once A.J. Brown gets healthy, Julio Jones coming in. The defense is pretty good as well. Could be better, but it's pretty good. Yeah, man, I think this is Tennessee. If Tennessee doesn't win, that means they did something horribly wrong. I just think it is. I mean, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is bad, man. He's his confidence and everything. I mean, he's not good, man. He's bad in the locker room. Teammates don't like him. He's got issues with his own confidence and who he is as a person. It's a lot of stuff that goes with Carson Wentz. Frank Reich is trying to coddle him as much as he can, trying to rebuild his character and his confidence and everything about him, right? But I think he's an emotional basket case at this point in time, with everything that happened. I mean, he was at one point being talked about as MVP of the league. He went down with injury. Nick Foles leads the team to victory, right, to a Super Bowl. They put an enshrinement of Nick Foles, a statue they gave him outside the stadium. The teammates built a shrine at his locker. You know what I mean? So that always stuck with Carson Wentz, and it jacked him up. You know what I mean? Pretty bad. So, it is what it is with him. I think he's done pretty much. I don't think he'll ever be the same. I think he'll probably end up getting injured again this year, just like he got injured in preseason or training camp, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not going to waste any more time. I mean, nobody watching this wants to hear about the AFC South, so we're going to move on. Only person who may want to hear about is Julian, but I think he knows what's going on with that as well.
Tell Julian to draft Carson Wentz, please.
Yeah, I'm telling him, but he won't. I think he'll draft Fitzpatrick before he drafts Carson Wentz, but that's neither here nor there. We'll go to the last division in the AFC, the North. This one's always competitive. Got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Steelers. This one is, I think, 3 of the 4 teams can win the division. I think it's going to be one of the toughest ones. I think the Ravens, are still the Ravens. Now they're more of an offensive team, the defensive team, the offense. With Lamar Jackson definitely leads the team now. The Bengals, we just got to see how Burrows rebounds from that ACL injury. He's healthy, but he still may not start week 1. So we'll see how that goes. The Browns have had talent the last 4 years, and will this be the year that they put it together? Their running game is probably unmatched. We'll see what Odell will come back and do. We'll see if Baker starts, forcing him the ball again and the offense goes to trash. We don't know. We know that on one side they have Myles Garrett, and on the other side they have Clowney. We do know that. So their pass rush will be there. And then the Steelers always have a great defense. When they added Minka it changed the defense tremendously. Having a good secondary and having a good line with T.J. Watt, and with Roethlisberger, he's just a winner. His skills has diminished. He'll give you them games in which he throws 4 or 5 picks, and then says, "I may retire next week." But then he also has those games which he shows why he's won 2 Super Bowls. So to me, I think I'm going to say the Browns will win the division. Barely. I know the favorite's probably the Ravens, but I think the Browns, I think the addition to Clowney really is going to make a difference. I think that the running game, locking up the running game with Chubb and Hunt, they'll continue to lean on that. They'll let Baker still be the bus driver, and I think they'll go ahead and win the division, followed by the Ravens, Steelers close second and third, and then the Bengals are just unfortunately in the division with 3 teams better than them. So, what's your thoughts?
I think I disagree with you a little bit. I think Pittsburgh is going to win this division. I don't believe in the Browns. I don't believe they're going to take that step. I think they're a talented team. They got a talented bunch of individuals because they had so many terrible years and they were able to draft some really good players, right? But it's something missing there, man. And I think it starts with Baker Mayfield. I'm not sold on him being that top guy, being that top dog, you might say. I think it's something about him where Baker Mayfield tries to be everybody's friend, right? He tries to be everybody's friend in the locker room and things like that. And at some point in time, you have to, as the quarterback of a team, you got to go forth and just say, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. Odell, I don't care how much you complain. I don't care how many times you come to me and say I was wide open. You get the ball when I give it to you. That's it, period, in the story." You know what I mean? But I don't think he has that in him. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants to be liked by Odell. He wants to be liked by other guys on the team. So, Peyton Manning, people like that, guys who are top tier quarterbacks, they don't have a problem telling people how to get in line on the team. So, you made mention of it, force feeding Odell the ball and the offense going to trash because of it. I think that's a recipe for disaster there with Odell coming back. Because Odell, you got to think about it. Him coming back now, he wants to prove people wrong because he's had several bad years now, right? Not just 1, 2. It's been pretty like 3, crappy years for Odell. You know what I mean? So he wants to come back and he wants to put in work. But he's not going to be able to do that, and spread that ball around the way he needs to. You know what I mean? You can't just force feed the one guy the ball. We've seen how that worked with Dallas. Force feeding Dez Bryant the ball for so many years. So, I don't think that'll happen. I think the most balanced team, and experience wise and better and the best coaching is Pittsburgh, and that's why they'll win. I think. Well, John Harbaugh is a good coach too, so I don't want to say coaching. Let me take that back. Let me retract that statement. But Harbaugh is a good coach, and he does well with Baltimore. But I think Pittsburgh will win it. Baltimore is really good, but man, the passing game, man. You know what I mean? You just, at some point you can't be one dimensional the way that they are. So, if they can really hit people over the top, and Lamar can start utilizing his tight end the way he did in his rookie year or his second year in the league or whatever it was, then they'll be fine. But it's tough when you don't have receivers, man. And he doesn't have just legit receivers. You know what I'm saying? And Baltimore has never had legit receivers. That's one of the things that I don't like many times when you have a black quarterback. I feel that many teams rely on the athleticism. Oh, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. We can get away with just throwing him a tight end and that's it. You know what I mean? And you don't really have those playmakers on the outside that guys need. You know what I mean? And when you're a guy like Lamar Jackson, you need bigger receivers too. And the reason you need bigger receivers is because when he's running and he's dancing in the pocket and he's moving, you get a little bit less accurate than when you're standing still. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying he's not accurate because I think he's accurate. But when you're running or you're on the move and you're trying to throw the ball on the move, you're a little bit less accurate. So the bigger your wide receiver is, the more likely that you get a catch there. So I think that's their problem. It'll continue to be a problem either until they either get somebody or Lamar goes somewhere else. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that Lamar did have a step back when it came to passing last year, as far as with his passing statistics, at least. Step back from his MVP year, but he just has to continue work on that accuracy. I mean, fortunately, unlike arm strength, accuracy, you can work on that. You know what I'm saying? So if he continues to progress and work on it, they definitely have a chance to be a good team, if not great team for years to come. I just think that this year, I'm saying the Browns, you're saying the Steelers. Both of us are saying they're not going to win the division this year. So it's kind of a step back a little bit for them. But like I said, they're in the toughest division, I believe, in the NFL. So that's not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. It's just they're in a bad division. I mean, they're in a good division. So I
will say this about Lamar, though. He had 10 less touchdowns, right? He had 26 touchdowns last year. The year before that, he had 36 passing touchdowns. He only threw for like 400 less yards than he did his MVP season. So it's not like, he took barely a step back. 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions is still great. Most quarterbacks would love to have that, right? Those numbers. But for Lamar Jackson and what they want to do, and comparing quarterbacks to Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers, guys who were putting up 45, 50 touchdowns in a year, that's the problem. You know what I mean? That's the problem. So I don't think he's played bad, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that he's terrible or anything like that. I just feel like he's lacking in playmakers, man. You got to have some guys that you can throw the ball to and let them run with the ball. You know what I mean? They don't have it.
Yeah. Okay. So there we have it. AFC North. I feel the Browns. You feel the Steelers. We'll see how everything happens. Next division we both know pretty well, NFC East. This division is going to be. I think it's clearly two teams at the top, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and start because I know who you're gonna say.
You know who I'm gonna say?
I know who you're gonna say because I know you, man.
Because do you know what I'm gonna say? Because why? They're the most talented team out there. They have the most talent.
It's debatable, but yeah, they have the most offensive talent.
Okay,
in the division.
All right. Okay.
And the team you're speaking about is the Cowboys. So go ahead and finish your thought.
All right. Well, let me start with Philadelphia. I'm gonna start with Philadelphia. I'm gonna say Philadelphia is weak. They're gonna be bad. I think they're gonna be bad. For whatever reason, they don't like Jalen Hurts as much as they, some other people do. I think Jalen Hurts can be really good. I think he can be. But you have to cater your offense to him. And that's the problem that Philadelphia didn't do. That's why Doug Peterson's out of there, though. But he became too predictable in his play calling. So that's why he's gone. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Philadelphia. I don't know. I just feel like Jalen Hurts is the better player. He's better than Flacco. Um, they should move forward with him. Put the trust into the guy and give him the keys and let him go do his thing. He played in 2 top-notch programs in college, man, and led both of them to great years. Almost won the Heisman Trophy and things like that. So, stop fooling with it and just go ahead. But that's Philadelphia. The Giants, it's Daniel Jones, man. Daniel Jones, I'm gonna say this. Daniel Jones, I'm not down on him like he sucks. He's terrible. He's a solid quarterback. He's solid, right? But that's all he is. And from time to time, Daniel Jones will make the dumbest mistake possible. And his turnover situation is really bad. He turns the ball. I think he's turned the ball over. He's got more turnovers than games played. What? No. What is it? He had more fumbles than games played total.
Yeah,
that's terrible, bro. I can see interceptions, but if you have more fumbles, that you're careless, you're loose with the ball. You know what I'm saying? So that's his problem. You saw it in that preseason game. They got down there into the red zone, and he dropped back, he rolled out and threw the ball into. I don't know what he was thinking when he threw the ball.
yeah,
It was directly to the guy. So that's Daniel Jones. So until they get that cleaned up or fixed or whatever, or get somebody else in there new, they're going to be the Giants. They are who they are. Big Blue is going down. The Redskins. I think the Redskins defensively are very good. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick though. Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's good, man. He's okay for a 3-game stretch, man. And then after that, he's gonna torpedo, man. He's going down. You know what I mean? I mean he'll have a game where he'll throw 4 touchdowns, right? And he'll come out and he'll have he makes everybody laugh and he's cool. He's a nice guy. You know what I mean? And then he'll come out and he'll throw 5 picks one game, and then he'll have a game where he throws 2 touchdowns, and then the next game he'll throw 4 picks. You know what I mean? That's what you get with Ryan Fitzpatrick. But that's not the end all be all. I mean, if they can run the ball, and maybe not depend on him, then they'll be okay. They'll give the Cowboys some run, right? They'll give the Cowboys some run. Now the Cowboys, they got to get out of their own way. I say this about them every year. From top to bottom, they're the most talented team in the division by far. I think it's not even close. But for whatever reason, they just can't it's like a puzzle that they can't put together. They can't find the pieces, right? So I don't know what it is. I think it's most to do with coaching. You got to stop. If you're Jerry Jones, he's hiring figureheads all the time. Mike McCarthy is not a good coach, man. They should have went Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis, I guarantee you, would not be putting out that terrible defense that they got. And I said that when they signed Mike McCarthy, that was a stupid signing because he's not that good. He lived off of Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Nobody respects McCarthy like that. Not like he's not no top guy. I think Marvin Lewis would have been a better fit for Dallas Cowboys because he's able to garner the respect of the players. He's able to. Guys like to play for him. He's cool. He's a good guy. He stays out of the way. He won't be in Jerry Jones's way, right? But at the same time, the players still respect him. They'll respect him more than what they do Mike McCarthy. That's just my opinion. So, with the Cowboys situation, they got the most talent. They got everything they need to make it work. If Dak's shoulder is okay, they'll be good. They'll be 8-8, or not 8-8. They'll be 9-8. You know what I mean? And they'll probably win the division by 2 games because that division is weak as well. Just like the AFC South, that division has been bad for years, man. Like let's put it like this, Marshall. At one point in time, I think it was last year, every team was 4 games below 500, and everybody still had a chance to win the division. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, that's what we're looking at with the AFC East. For whatever reason, they're gonna beat up on each other, and they're gonna, nobody will really put themselves out in front, and it'll be what it's gonna be.
Yeah. So I agree with the Giants and the Eagles. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be in the conversation. Sorry, John.
I'm not sorry, John.
But and I do think at some point in time, you will have a Gardner Minshew sighting in Philadelphia just because it's Philadelphia. That's how they do. If Hurts isn't making some plays, I think a lot of people, Minshew has that Nick Foles effect. A lot of people, his teammates love him. You know what I'm saying? So I think they go have a signing. I think the separation between the two, between Washington and the Cowboys, it will break down to coaching is one, because Ron Rivera is a better coach than McCarthy, and two.
Let me ask you. Go ahead. No, let me finish that. But I got a question for you. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think you have that in effect. Then I think the hype, just like mostly always, destroys the Cowboys. I think a lot of times they feel themselves. They feel themselves. You pause. You know what I'm saying? They do. I think the Washington. You have to understand. Washington went 7-9 last year with a great defense, but the defense has gotten better, and the offense has gotten better, and they went 7-9. We had the worst quarterback play in the league last year statistically. Period. You're right. Ryan Fitzpatrick is very inconsistent, but will his inconsistency be enough to cost them games with a dominant defense? Fitzpatrick didn't have a defense. All the teams he's played for, I can't think of a defense that he's played on that is as good as this Washington's defense. Chase Young is arguably the best defensive player in the division, and it's only his second year. So, you have all that in effect. You got another Ron Rivera guy come over, Samuels, which is another playmaker. They've improved their offensive line. Adding William Jackson helps the secondary because Darby was trash. Statistically, last year he wasn't, but watching the game, I was scared to death every time the ball went in his direction on a fly route. Every single time. He's terrible. So, when you go 7-9, win the division, and improve in offense and defense, it's only logical that the team's going to get better. Now, 2 of those wins obviously was against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are going to be better. However, they also lost twice to the Giants. I don't see them losing twice to the Giants again. Not with the improvements that they've made. And with the Cowboys, Dak Prescott still hasn't gotten hit. You know what I'm saying? He came off an ankle injury. He has a shoulder injury. He hasn't gotten hit yet. We'll see. Everyone is bigging up Dak Prescott. I understand that. He's definitely made strides, since he's been in the league. But understand, we talk about Lamar Jackson. He had 33 touchdowns. He had 26 touchdowns the year before. Dak Prescott's only thrown for more than 22 touchdowns one time in his career since he started. Last year, obviously, you can't throw that out. That was an injury year. But he's thrown for 22 touchdowns one time, over 22 touchdowns one time. So would he have the same look or the same praise if he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Is the star on his helmet? Part of what the Cowboys' problem is the overhypeness of the team. Is that star making him look better than what he actually is? We'll find out. We'll see, right? So that's just my thoughts. My thoughts is, and I'm gonna give you a chance to rebuttal because I see your face, but I just think that when you got a team that has won the division already and got better in every category, the Cowboys have got their most important piece back in Dak Prescott, which is still an unknown because we don't know how he's going to be. I just feel that it's Washington's division to lose. However, it's Washington's division to lose. That's what I feel.
Hey, dog. That's a hot take, bro. That's a hot take.
Go ahead.
That's a hot take. I mean, you say Washington's division to lose?
Yes.
Like they in the catbird seat. That's what you're telling me. They driving.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me correct you on a couple of things right quick. Let me get that out of the way. You said Dak Prescott's only thrown for over 22 touchdowns one time in his career. Right? I mean, one time in his career, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, over one time. He had 22 and then he had like 20, 30, whatever.
Yeah, first of all, he had 23 in his rookie year. He had 22 the year after that, 22 the year after that, and then 30. And then last year he got injured. And he was well on his way to having over that because he had 9 in 5 games or 4 games, whatever it was.
Right. So he's thrown for over 22 touchdowns
Twice.
Okay, 23 and okay, there you go.
All right, so that's the correction. That's number one. But you act like he's only thrown for over 22, like he's he hasn't thrown for under that either. 22, 23, and 30. Like, I mean, you act like, the way you said it is like he throwing 15 touchdowns, 10 one year or something like that. He ain't thrown for over 22 except for one time. So, stop trying to play with words right there. That's just my.
I'm not. I'm not. But go ahead. I'll rebuttal after you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So when you say it's their division to lose, I don't understand how you can say that after a team was 7-9. The year before that, what was it? I mean, you know that better than I do. What were they?
They were 2-14.
Okay, 2-14, 7-9. Now they're in the catbird seat. After 1 year of having Chase Young, and he's arguably, like you said, the best defensive player in that division.
Yes,
and he only has 7.5 sacks. So he's not even produced a double-digit sack season. But you're telling me that he's the best defensive player in that division.
Yes, arguably, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't agree with that either. And then, like I said, it all hinges on Dak. If Dak comes back and he's able to, utilize his skill set of players that they have, you still got Zeke Elliott, you still got Tony Pollard, who's tough. Running the game will be no problem for Dallas, right? I don't think they'll have an issue with that. I think they'll be able to produce with those 2 running backs. You got 3 guys that can go get you 1,000 yards receiving, 3 of them. And you got Dak Prescott, who has thrown for almost, he threw for 4,900 yards the last year he was healthy. 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. For his career, he's got 106 touchdowns to 40 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's a career 97 passer rating. Career. That's what we're talking about with Dak Prescott. So don't bang on Dak Prescott, please don't. And then, when I look at the defensive side of the ball, I think the Cowboys got better too. You got Dan Quinn in there. Now, there's some questions that remain with him because of his time in Atlanta, no doubt. But Dan Quinn comes in there, and he brought some good players. DeMonte Kazee, he's a good player. He's gonna get you do some things on the football field that's good. You're moving what's his name down from safety down to linebacker possibly. You got Michael Parsons in there. You know what I mean? These are guys that the Cowboys got better too. So when you say that the Redskins got better. I could say the same thing about the Cowboys. They got just as, they got better as well. Now, defensively, they had their issues, but it's being addressed. Defensively is more on the scheme with the Cowboys. Defensively, they have the talented players. They have enough talent on the football field to be a good defense. But it's the scheme. That's the problem. And people don't realize that you can't just put players on the field in the NFL because these offensive coordinators are smart, man. Defensive coordinators are smart. Coaching, that's what they do all week. They put in more hours than the players do keeping their bodies right. They put in more hours watching film, you know what I mean, going over, plays and everything from other teams and their team to make themselves better. So the scheme was bad in Dallas, right? Now that you have Dan Quinn coming in there, you can't argue that he's not a good defensive coach. He's a good defensive coach. But, we'll see how it works out. As a head coach, he's not that good in my opinion. He's lacking there. But defensively, you can't knock what he did, and he knows talent. And Dallas has talent, man. They got just as good on both sides of the ball as you want to claim that Washington did. But go ahead.
So let's break it down like this. I know you wanted to argue, you wanted to speak about like 22 touchdowns is like, I don't know what you're calling it. However, if someone else, Baker Mayfield, if he has 4 straight years throwing for 22 touchdowns, would you say he's like dominant, top 5 quarterback, top 8? Would you put that label on him? If he was just throwing 22 touchdowns every single year.
Well, that's not what Dak did though. That's not what Dak did. Dak threw for 4,900 yards, 5,000 yards basically.
But that's not putting points on the board, right?
You got to move the ball to put points on the board, right?
You have to move the ball.
And he scored 30 touchdowns that year too. With a struggling, let's say, who do you have at wide receiver at that point in time? Because Amari Cooper came halfway through the year that year, right?
The one he had 30 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amari came halfway through the year. So you got a guy that came halfway through the year, basically. And you had who else besides him? Michael Gallup, right?
Yeah, Gallup.
Yeah, no tight end. So Dak was given chopped liver out there at wide receiver that year. They got it together. They got Amari Cooper, and that helped them. But at the same time, all I'm saying is that he's produced, man. You can't deny me that. You putting your faith in Ryan Fitzpatrick, but we sitting here saying that Dak Prescott is not top 8. You don't think he's top 8?
What I'm saying is, if he didn't have a star on his helmet, they wouldn't talk about him in the top 8. That's just what it is. Because the thing about it is, do I have faith in Ryan Fitzpatrick? No, definitely not. However, do I have faith in Dak Prescott? Not really either. Look, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick is better than Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
However, I'm saying that
if you was saying that, I would get off of here right now. I would hang up.
I'm not saying that. I would say Dak Prescott, as far as quarterbacking, I would put him in the top half of the NFL, maybe top 10. But people are, and he got paid this way too. People are putting him in that upper tier, and
deserve to get paid like that too.
And if you do something besides, obviously, especially when they had a terrible defense the year before he got hurt, the year before last, right? When they had the NFL's almost historic worst defense in the league. Mm-hmm. They were losing by a lot all the time. So he put up a bunch of stats when the defense weren't playing like they did in the first two quarters. That's just facts. Watching the game, they were coming back, and there are such things as empty stats. Now you still got to do it. You still gotta make the plays. I understand that. However, he has a lot of stats. How he plays in the first half and how he plays in the second half, if you watch the game, is different. It's just different. In the first half, a lot of times, like he has to get warmed up. A lot of times, he's inaccurate. There's a lot of 3 and outs. However, later on in the game, when he has to play catch up, he's throwing the ball more. He starts heating up. He starts playing better. But at the same time, defense are going to be playing you differently if they're up by 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. They're not playing you the same way. So for a guy to be put in that top tier realm and has his highest touchdown rating is touchdown status 30, and after that he's had 23 and under. You know what I'm saying? I'll do 23 and under. Since he had that 23 that 1 year, 23 and under. To me, that's not top tier quarterback statistics, because when you're looking at top tier receivers, top tier quarterbacks, you're looking at quarterbacks that you can put a team on your back and they can win you a game. Lamar Jackson didn't have receivers either. Didn't have a lot of receivers either. However, he's able to put up numbers consistently.
He put up 2,700 yards passing. Dak put up 4,900.
Who do you feel is a better quarterback? Who produces who produces more scoring opportunities, Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott is a better quarterback.
So you would choose Dak Prescott over Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
With everything he brings to the table?
Yep.
Okay. And your second favorite team is
No, it's not. It's not a matter of me. My second favorite team being the Cowboys. That's not what it is at all. At the end of the day, he passes the ball better than Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. He's a better quarterback than him. Now, I'm not going to say that Lamar is not a quarterback, because he is. But I would rather a passer in Dak Prescott being my quarterback. Dak Prescott could also run as well. Not like Lamar Jackson, no doubt, right? But that type of play always gets you hurt, right? Look at the quarterbacks who take the most punishment. Who are they? They're running players. Randall Cunningham got beat up. Why? Because he ran outside the pocket. RG3, you know this, got beat up. Got his leg tore off, basically, right? Because he was running the ball. Michael Vick got beat up. Even though he was electric and did his thing, got beat up. Why? Because he ran the ball. So how long is Lamar going to be able to do that? That's my question. I believe that Dak Prescott, the way he plays the game of football, will have more longevity, and his career will be longer because of how you look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton, people crap on him now and talk about him bad, but he was used as a battering ram. They was calling quarterback draws and stuff like literally quarterback just hike the ball to the quarterback and let him try to run up the middle, like quarterback dive plays. So yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, Dak Prescott is better at that than Lamar Jackson. I would take him. I think Dak Prescott is a top 8 quarterback easily, by far. I challenge you to name 8 guys better than him. 8 guys that you would take over Dak Prescott. I don't believe you can.
Oh, I definitely can, but that's for another show.
I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to hear that.
I'll make sure what I'm saying, you're on that show, so that way you can tell me I'm right. You know what I'm saying, face to face or Zoom to Zoom.
And another thing, bro, like check it out. you talking about Dak Prescott and you saying, he hasn't thrown for over 22 touchdowns, but twice in his career. We've established that. It's twice out of his, 4 years, basically, it's twice. We're not even going to count the one that he was hurt because he was hurt pretty much the majority of the year, right? Want to throw that one out? So how can you bang on a guy? I can see if we were looking at his a 10-year career and we said this. But you're talking about a rookie who threw for 23 touchdowns, won Rookie of the Year, and led his team to a 13-3 or 12-4, 13-3 record. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about that. That's and then you had 22, and you had 30. Now, go figure, man. I just don't understand. I don't understand how we can look at that and say, hey, this guy is not producing. He's not good.
It's pretty easy because in his rookie year, he had 23 touchdowns when people didn't have film on him. So he's gone down in touchdowns every single year except that 1 year before.
But it's only 4 years that you're looking at, bro. Like you can't.
But still, yes, you're right. It's 4 years. However, he's paid as if he's the man. 4 years or not, he's paid as he's the man. He's the man. His rookie year, he threw for 23 touchdowns. The 2 years after that, 22 and 2, right? Mm-hmm. So he had his best touchdown year before he broke out the year before last, his rookie year. Then after that, he didn't throw for over 4,000 yards in any of those years as well. There's only been 1 year in which he threw for more than 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. That was the year before last. Then, unfortunately, he got injured. This year will tell a lot. Or will it be another excuse? Well, he's coming off this injury. Do we have to wait? How many opportunities are we going to show that this guy can lead a team to victory? You know what I'm saying?
So is your beef with his stats, what he does on the football field, or is your beef with you don't think he deserves the money that he got?
I'm not gonna piss on anybody's pocket. Now, when somebody was when someone was saying he deserves more money than Patrick Mahomes, then at that point, then that's ludicrous. However, he got paid. He deserved to get paid because he wasn't getting paid but pennies his first 5 years. He wasn't getting paid like a starting quarterback. So I'm happy that he got his money. It's not about that. However,
but you brought that up, though. You brought it up. You said he's getting paid like he's a top quarterback when he's not. Yeah. And I'm saying he deserves that money because, okay, the reason I asked that question is, do you think Lamar Jackson deserves $45 million a year?
Yes.
Why?
Because he brings more to the table.
What? What does he bring to the table? Did he go to the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay, so he had 36 touchdowns 1 year, and the year before that and then the year after that he had 26, right?
Yeah.
But he deserves it, and Dak doesn't. And he threw for 3,100 yards 1 year and 2,700 the next year. But he brings what does he bring to the table? The legs, the running.
Yeah. You can't throw away his rushing touchdowns. You can't throw them because those are all scoring opportunities. That's putting 6 on the board.
Yeah, I'm not throwing them away because Dak runs the ball and he scores running touchdowns as well.
But not compared to Lamar. You can't compare.
Not the same. No, not the same as Lamar. But I'm just saying, why do you think he deserves $45 million and Dak doesn't? It doesn't make sense. The numbers say it doesn't make sense, Marshall.
Well, I mean, you have to win too, right? Lamar Jackson has been winning more than so stats-wise, as far as scoring opportunities, Lamar Jackson has put up more points. He's also won more games than Dak Prescott over that same point in time. Throw out the injury part. He's accounted for more TDs than Dak Prescott, period. The yards doesn't put points on the board. TDs put points on the board. That's what ultimately wins games. So he's a better scoring option than Dak Prescott statistically. since he's been in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I choose somebody who, by any means necessary, is going to get you 6, rather than somebody that can take you to the, from the 20 to the 20, and then you have to settle for a field goal?
It ain't by any means necessary though, because he haven't done it. It's not like he's doing that, just day in and day out. He's gonna, go out there, because otherwise he would have went to the Super Bowl, right? He didn't win. At the end of the day, we don't give kudos for getting to an AFC Championship game. You don't get kudos for I won more games. You know what I mean? Did you win the Super Bowl? That's what you play for. These guys ain't playing for no other reason. Maybe some of them are playing for money. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's what we really talk about being successful, right? How many chips do you got? So he don't have any, and at the same time, Dak doesn't have any. So now we got to go to the numbers. And in my opinion, Dak Prescott has earned that money. He has earned. People can say what they want to. Oh, $75 million. They try to blow that up, bro. That's signing bonus. Everybody's gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna get it. So Josh Allen, does he deserve it? Does he deserve what he got?
I mean, he's had one good year. So we got to see.
One good year, but he already got paid though, right?
Right. I mean, it's not about the money. I'm talking about, okay, you got paid. Mm-hmm. Everybody who gets paid, fine, great. Football is a tough sport. Get paid. However, you're going to have to perform. You got paid. You held off for that. You bet on yourself. You won. Okay. Now it's a time to show, okay, because you said it's about chips, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's about winning.
So far, Lamar Jackson has been putting his team in a better shot to win a championship than Dak Prescott.
Okay.
So with that being said, you got paid now, Dak. I know you coming off injuries, but at some point in time, you're gonna have to show that you're worth that money.
So he got to prove that he's worth that money. But Josh Allen got it off 1 year. You know what I mean? We don't have no problem with that. Okay, we established that.
But he has to prove it too. Nobody said, well, now you can just sit on your more. Josh, you have to prove it too. Josh Allen was a close game away from making it to the Super Bowl. He has to continue on. Dak has not come close to a Super Bowl.
And okay, so you also have to look at the team that's around him. We established also that Dallas put out a poor product on the defensive side of the ball, right?
But we also agree every single year the Dallas Cowboys are always in everybody's top talented team. Every single year. You just said it on this show that by talent wise, it's it. If the coaches can't get them to do it, that's on them. But talent is not the issue with the Cowboys.
Okay, I'm not saying talent is the issue, but what I'm saying is that they put a bad product on the defensive side of the ball, right? Dak has never in 4 or 5 years now been with a team that put a decent defensive product out there. Even though they've had defensive players that are talented, right? There's something lacking there in the scheme, in the fits, so on and so forth. You have talented guys like they had Byron Jones. He's gone now, but he was a talented cornerback, right? You have Jalen Smith, who was talented, the Wolf Hunter, who was talented. You know what I mean? You got guys on the talent side of the ball, but they weren't able to put it together. That's the difference between Dak's team and you look at Baltimore and you look at Buffalo. They're going into a situation where their team is better as far as being good on the defensive side of the ball as well. When a young quarterback has a very good defense on his side and they can shut people down, that makes his job so much easier. So much easier. Now, when you have a team and you know you have to go out there and score 30 points in order to win, you mean to tell me that's not more pressure than what those guys have to deal with in Baltimore, where you can go out and score 18 and win the game? Come on, man. It's not even close, bro.
But this is let's not act like this Ravens defense is the Ray Lewis defense.
No, it's not.
It's not that. That their defense is above average.
But Buffalo is tough.
Buffalo's tough, absolutely.
Buffalo got a tough D.
Yeah, they're tough, no doubt about it. So I knew this division was going to be the most sticking talking point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got the Cowboys winning the division. I have Washington's division to lose. I'm gonna say it again. Washington's division to lose.
Man,
we'll see what happens. It sucks that they don't play at the beginning of the year at all. It's both of their games is towards the end. I think the first game is December 11th. So
you guys will be out of it by then.
Okay. Dak will be, letting Cooper Rush take some snaps by then. So we'll see what happens. So let's go to the West, NFC West. So in the West, you have the 49ers. You got the Cardinals, the Rams, the Seahawks. This real tough division as well. I said, I said the AFC North was going to be the toughest division. This one will give it a run for the money, but for this division, I think the Rams are going to win. I think the Rams have a great defense. It's not as good as it was a couple years ago when they made it to the Super Bowl. However, it's hard to have arguably the best cornerback in the NFL and arguably the best defensive lineman in the NFL. I don't even want to say arguably with Donald, but Sam.
It is arguably, but go ahead.
I'm not going to talk about Mac, but Matt Stafford, man, this the year, man. I felt that he's been underrated for a long time. Unfortunately, he was in Detroit. Still probably has one of the top 5 strongest arms in the NFL. He got some more weapons around him that he's ever had. I think this is the time it's going to show if Matt Stafford is actually one of those guys, or if he, is not one of those guys. I mean, he's in the limelight now. He's in LA. I think they're going to win the division. I think Seattle's always going to be Seattle. They're always going to be in there. Russell Wilson is, top 5 QB in my eyes. You have, Carson running the ball, and I think they still have Penny too. I think that, the running game is going to be sufficient. They have Tyler Lockett, who is very underrated. And then you have big man. Who am I thinking about?
DK Metcalf.
DK, big man. That's tough. That's to be a tough offense. If they let the reins off Russell Wilson a little bit more, and the defense plays better, they play better down the stretch than they did last year. That's going to be. They have a chance too. The 49ers, I just think that the longer they stay with Garoppolo, I think that the less chance that they're going to have to fill that gap. Their defense is still great. They have a lot of weapons around them. George Kittle is still top 3 tight end, so they got weapons there. And then you have the Cardinals, which is up and coming. Kyler Murray, I think Kyler Murray is going to have a breakout year. I think things that come into place. We'll see with AJ Green. We'll see if he's healthy, if being in this situation will help him. Because when you're playing for a team that consistently doesn't make the playoffs like the Bengals, some point in time you're gonna just not care. But we'll see, man. I think all of the team. I think in this division, every team will probably finish above 500. I think this will be a very tough division. So that's how I see it. I see the Rams. I'll go with the Seahawks because of the Seahawks. I'll go with the Cardinals. And I'll go with the 49ers last.
Wow, that's a good one. Man, it's a hard division to pick, man, because these teams they're all good, but they're all flawed in my opinion in major ways. If that makes sense. I think I'm probably gonna go with the Rams. I'm leaning towards the Rams though, because I think they're more consistent across the board, right? And it doesn't hurt that they just was able to get Sony Michel from New England, right? So bringing him in, that's going to establish the running game, which is the one piece that they were really missing. Matt Stafford is there now. How will he hold up? You know what I mean? He's been beat up in Detroit. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? So what does he have left? He's been hurt the last couple of years in Detroit, right? Now he's tough because he'll play through injuries. But last year he went down with an injury. The year before that he went down, and that's because he's been up there getting beat up by my Bears quite for for a long time through his first 9-10 years of his career getting beat up. That takes a toll on the individual. So that's not all his fault. Tyler Lockett, let me get to them because the Rams are what they are. They're good defensive, solid defensive team. You know what I mean? Number 1 defense in the league last year. So we don't even have to really pay a whole lot of attention to that. They got wide receivers that can catch the ball, that can move, that can get open. You got Stafford. So they're the most complete team. But we'll see what happens with them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. San Francisco, you got to start. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, you got Trey Lance. So they are what they are. And San Francisco, I'm not sold on their wide receivers. Everybody acts like I like Deebo Samuel, but he's not. I don't know if he's a number 1. You know what I mean? Brandon Ayuk, I don't know if he's a number 1 either. You know what I mean? So you got guys masquerading as number 1 receivers, in my opinion. And I'm not banging on these guys because they're good guys. They're good players. But you need that dog. You need that top dog at the wide receiver position. They don't have it. Like you said, your best, the Raiders, you knocked them because their best receiver was a tight end. This is a clear situation where the best receiver on San Francisco's team is George Kittle, and he's a tight end. You know what I mean? So they have the same situation. And when you don't have those guys outside, man, it's just lacking, man. You got to have a threat. You got to have that threat. And those guys are threats because they can get the ball and do some things with it. So I'm not knocking them like that, but they're just not that top. They're not the top dog out there. You know what I mean? They're 2 wide receivers masquerading as one of them is going to masquerade as a 1. I don't know which one, but one of them will. And then you got Seattle. Seattle their window is closing. It seems to me their window is closing by the minute, by the second, in my opinion. There's a problem there. There's some bitterness. I don't know if it's between Carroll and I don't know who it is. Carroll and Russell Wilson or Wilson and management, whoever. But there's something there. There's something there that's not really sitting right, and I think their window is just slipping closed. You know what I mean? And I'm going to touch on Tyler Lockett. You said he's underrated. Tyler Lockett is a joke. I don't like him at all. He's sorry. And one of the reasons I don't like him is because I had him on my fantasy team, and he was the most inconsistent person that I've ever had on my fantasy football team. Ever. I mean, he'll go out there and get you 240 yards one week, and then he'll have 3 yards the next. You know what I mean? And that's what he did time and time again. He had 10 touchdowns, 100 catches, and everybody looks at that and says, oh, Tyler Lockett, look at the numbers he put up. 10-yard average per catch, not many yards. 100 catches for 1,000 yards. That's not good. You know what I mean? 10 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, but he had games where, he scored 3 touchdowns twice. So for the rest of the game, 14 games, he had 4 touchdowns maybe. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by inconsistency. He's not a number one guy. DK Metcalf is that guy. He's the number one guy out there. So I give DK his props, but Tyler Lockett, man, he's I'd rather have a guy that can go get me 7 and 8, 9 touches every game. Keenan Allen, you know what I mean? Somebody like that, right? Allen Robinson, guys who are gonna catch the ball instead of a guy who's a hit or miss, man. One game he's 13, 14 catches, the next game 2. That's Tyler Lockett's a joke to me. I don't like him. He cost me some games. Now I'm personal, I guess, with him. You know what I mean? That's not.
Yeah, that's personal. Yeah, I mean, you deserve to lose some games. That's just the deserve to lose some games. So.
It's personal. I look at Tyler Lockett like you look at Dak. It's personal with you and Dak. It seems like
it's not personal. He's a good guy. He's a good guy, man. But good guy. You just play for the wrong team. It is what it is.
That makes it personal. No, I'm joking. But that's Seattle. I think their window is closing. I don't think they're going to be at the top of that division. I think the Rams will. And then you got out there. Who else is out there? You got San Francisco, Arizona. They got AJ Green, man. So that's really going to help them. You know what I mean? If he can stay healthy, which he's not able to do often. We'll see what new Arizona has, man. I mean, they just lost their cornerback, didn't they? He didn't want to play. I think he's on the retired list now, Malcolm Butler. That's going to hurt them as well. So we'll see what happens. I don't believe in Arizona being the top dog either. I don't think they're going to step forward like that. They'll be mediocre. 7 and 10, or 8 and 9, something like that.
Okay. So we both agree on the Rams. Definitely have different thoughts about the rest of the division, but that's why they play the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They play the game.
Yep.
So let's move to the South, NFC South. You got the Falcons, Panthers, Saints, the Drewless Saints, and the Buccaneers. I'm gonna go ahead and let you start off because I got some controversial things to say about the division. So
about New Orleans?
About Tampa Bay, but go ahead.
Okay, all right. Can't wait for that. This is Tampa Bay's division to lose, like you would say about Washington, right? Being in the catbird seat, you might say. I think Tampa Bay has earned it though because they won the Super Bowl, and things like that. So it is what it is. I think it's a weak division though. I don't think the Falcons are. I don't know what the Falcons are doing, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I really don't understand what their game plan is because you drafted the most talented guy who in the draft in Kyle Pitts. He's tough, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you got an aging Matt Ryan. And it's clear that his time is coming to an end. You know what I mean? He's still putting up numbers, but it's something missing there. And that's what everybody sees in Atlanta. The Saints, you got Jameis Winston out there. The Saints, I'm not a believer in the Saints. I never have been. I think it's a gimmick offense that they were running, and we'll see what they're able to do now that you don't have Drew Brees throwing 5-yard dump passes and slants to slant boy Michael Thomas. We'll see what happens there. I think Tampa Bay is leading that division. I think that's why Brady went there. He knew he could win that division. They were loaded with talent to begin with. Carolina is nobody. Carolina, they got Sam Darnold and he's trash. So Sam, Carolina's in a rebuild. essentially all three of those teams are in rebuilding phases, right? So they're not going to give them no problem. Tampa Bay. So it's Tampa Bay's division to lose. If they want it, they'll have it. They could probably skate through, this division and beat up on them teams and get to the playoffs like that and not have to worry about anything else. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think. I think the Buccaneers are going to win the division. I partly think that that's why Tom Brady went to that division, went to Tampa Bay, because Tom Brady's scared of competition. You know what I'm saying? He left the weakest. He was in the Patriots when they had the weakest division besides the Patriots, and then he goes back to the same scenario. So they're going to win the division just because, I mean, who else? Who else going to win it, right? But I do not feel that they will be – I don't think – they're not going to be as good as last year, which is completely against what everybody else is saying. They're saying they're going to be better. They have an off season. They have all 22 starters in. It's all the same, right? But it's like they really did not play well against good teams until they got in the playoffs, right? They were beat up on sorry teams under 500, all year. In the playoffs, they almost lost to Washington with a quarterback starting his first game. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say almost lost, but it was a real close game. It shouldn't have been that close. I think that they benefited from their competition, which is the same thing I feel that they'll do this year. However, since they did win the division, the opponent should be a little tougher, except, when they're playing in the division. I just don't feel that they're going to get back to because in order for them this would be a successful season for them, they have to win the Super Bowl. I mean, they have to, because they won the Super Bowl last year, right? I would not be surprised if they lost in the first round this year, but that'll be something we'll discuss later on when we get to more Super Bowl picks. But I just feel that I don't think that they're going to progress as well as everybody's saying. I think they're going to fall short.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have them on the pedestal that most people have them on. You got people that, pundits that's talking about, they're gonna go undefeated and blah blah blah. And also the situation with the scheduling, man. They've given them an easy schedule as well. You know what I mean? You look at Chicago's schedule. I think we got the third or fourth hardest schedule in the league. And we didn't win our division, but we don't even have a back-to-back home game at all. Not one time throughout the whole year. We don't have two home games together. Every other team does in the league. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I think they're like you said. I agree with you on that part. You know what I mean? Tom Brady is good, man, but he's calculated. He's calculated in what he's done and what he did in the offseason. He went to the most talented team. There's no competition in that division. It's set up for him to win. You know what I mean? It's set up for him to win. So
Yeah. So I do have a question for you, since we are in that division, because you're in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I haven't seen a lot of Kyle Pitts tape. Do you think that the combination of Pitts, Gage, and Ridley can be comparable to Julio, Ridley, and Gage? Do you think Pitts has that talent? Is he showing that kind of possible talent in training camp and in the games?
It's hard to tell. In like I said, in preseason, man, I look at preseason and I think teams are not really trying to see what guys are doing. They're more along the lines of working on what they need to work on as a team, positions, things like that. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be fine in the NFL. I think he's going to be really good. Um, he has flashes, right? Flashes of speed and greatness and hands and leaping ability. I mean, he has every single tool that you have, that you could, every box is checked, right, on Kyle Pitts. The only thing that concerns me is, does he start believing that hype himself? You know what I'm saying? Which would make him lackadaisical in his preparation and things like that. If he doesn't become that type of guy, then he'll flourish. But if he kind of like, hey, starts believing his own, drinking the Kool-Aid, you might say, or believing his own, his own hype, then you could have a problem. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like that type of kid though, so I'm not gonna put that on him. I think he'll be fine. I think they'll be potent, man. I mean, Calvin Ridley is a number one receiver. You know what I mean? This is not a situation where Juju Smith-Schuster, you know what I mean, who's not a number one, by the way. I tell people that all the time. Even when he was with Antonio Brown, he put up those numbers and they voted him MVP of the team and things like that. We saw what Juju did since then. You know what I mean? His numbers have been down. His numbers have been down. Yeah. TikTok problems, yeah. Dancing on the middle of the field, things like that. So, but that's what it is. I think Calvin Ridley is a good player. He'll be fine. He'll be a good number one. And when you have a tight end like Kyle Pitts, where you can line him up outside, you can line him up inside, you can attack different areas of the field with different players. You know what I'm saying? So I think they'll be just fine. It's just a matter of how long is Matt Ryan going to be there, and do they find somebody else to replace him? A lot of people was talking about trying to get Cam to come to Atlanta. I don't think they'll do it, but I know a lot of people were trying to talk about that, saying, hey, if Matt Ryan folds up or if he doesn't work out or he gets hurt, then we can put Cam in there and we'll be just as potent. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's just because Atlanta is,
mostly, that's his hometown, though.
It's mostly black, and they like that he dances to the Migos. You know what I'm saying? So they just want to see him dance and practice to the Migos. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, now we're gonna get to the last division, which is your division. I want to give you the opportunity to convince me why you're going to say your Bears are going to win the division over the Packers, because I know you're going to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor. I'm gonna give you the shovel for you to start. Burying yourself and burying the Bears. So go ahead. It's on you.
Okay, well, I pride myself on being optimistic, right? I pride myself on being optimistic, but also being objective, right? So I'm not just a homer. I'm not just going to come out here and say, hey, the Bears are about to go 13-3, 14-2. You know what I mean? 14-3 because it's the 17th game. I'm not going to say that. I think the Bears will be around 10-7 this year. That's what I think they'll be. I'm not sold on Matt Nagy as a coach. I think he doesn't put guys in the position to win. And he doesn't know how to play call. His play calling is bad. His situational football is very bad. And his management of time is very bad as well. The clock situation, play clock, whatever. I mean, it's been several times where he called a play, and Matt Nagy is the type of guy who's got so much going on in his mind. He thinks he's this offensive guru, and he doesn't get the next play into the quarterback on time because he's calling plays. When he gave up play calling last year and Bill Lazor did it, all of a sudden things start working a little smoother, right? All of a sudden we start moving the ball much better. And then Matt Nagy took back over, and you can see it's starting to happen again. So I think that's the problem with Chicago. Until he cleans that up And I think that's one of the reasons why he's slow rolling this process. I believe that he is sandbagging Justin Fields. Justin Fields has got all the tools, bro. He's not. It's not even close. It's not even close. He's better than Andy Dalton in every aspect of the game. The only thing that he doesn't have that Andy Dalton has is experience. And all you gotta do is play him 2 games. Now you got experience. You know what I mean? There's nothing that he can learn on the bench that he can't learn while he's playing the game. You know what I mean? And I don't want to hear the nonsense about, you don't want to put him out there against the #1 defense. In the NFL, you can't run. You can't hide from players. You can't hide from teams. You can't hide from defenses. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Bears will be fine. I think they have a ton of – they've turned the roster over. And it's amazing. I give Pace credit, Ryan Pace. I was on his case last year, but I give him credit because he's turned this roster over in the middle of having a decent roster. And it's not often that you can see a guy do that. We got rid of Wims. We got rid of Ridley. We got rid of Anthony Miller. 3 guys that really cost us a playoff game. Wims dropped a touchdown in that game against New Orleans, right? Last year in the playoffs. Anthony Miller inexplicably got into a fight with another player and tried to punch somebody in the helmet, right? Which we knew that was going to happen for some reason. Got kicked out of the game. Cost us that. So these guys have done this repeatedly in Chicago in the wide receiver room. So now we got speed at wide receiver. Those 3 guys were slow players. We got 4 guys actually on the team that got 4.2 speed. You know what I mean? Demir Byrd, Marquise Goodwin, Brashad Perriman, who we just picked up. You know what I'm saying? Daz Newsome. Well, Daz is on the practice squad now. But we got guys who have this speed. And Darnell Mooney is the 4th guy. I'm sorry. But we got guys who have the speed. And Daz Newsome is not 4. He's not 4.2. I think he's like 4.4. But we got guys who have speed. That's what Nagy wanted to run his offense. Nagy wanted a different quarterback. He scapegoated coaches. This is all the stuff that Nagy's done, right? Now, was Mitch Trubisky the sole problem? No. I don't think Mitch was the sole problem. I think Mitch was decent enough to be a winning quarterback in this league. He was a winning quarterback in the league. He's got a winning record, and he's got way more touchdowns than interceptions. He took care of the ball. He can't help where he was drafted. And people wanted him to live up to Mahomes because he was drafted ahead of Mahomes. It's just not possible. Mahomes is in a league of his own. He's probably the best quarterback in the league right now. You know what I mean? So when you compare him to that and you compare him to Deshaun Watson, he's always going to be lacking. So it's best we moved on from him. We got Justin Fields. I give Pace credit for that as well. Being patient, moving up in the draft from 21 up to 11 to draft him, 22 up to 11 to draft him. That's awesome, man. So, I look at the Bears. That's what I want to see from the Bears. I want to see Matt Nagy change his ways. Maybe just coach. The guys like him, and he keeps the locker room happy. I'm cool with that. But the problem that I have with Matt Nagy is that he's not balanced in his play calling. Like I said, clock management, and that's his problems, man. He just becomes it's like a mad scientist, man, and it just doesn't work out. So I don't want him to screw that guy up. I don't want him to screw Justin Fields or the team up. And right now, playing Andy Dalton is a stupid decision, in my opinion, as well. I know I'm spending time on the Bears. That's because it's my favorite team. But I think it's dumb for them to play Andy Dalton, like I said, because Andy Dalton cannot win you games the way Justin Fields can. Justin Fields is head and shoulders above him.
So real quick, before you move on, you said the Bears can go 10-7.
Yeah.
If Andy Dalton is the quarterback for all 17 games, you still have them going 10-7.
No.
Okay.
And he won't be the quarterback for 17 games. He'll probably be
come in.
I think Fields will probably come in week 4 against Detroit.
Okay.
The week 4 is Detroit in Chicago. They'll give Andy Dalton his first game. He'll probably play bad. He'll probably get beat up a little bit by the Rams. He'll play week 2 because we play the Bengals. They'll give him an opportunity to play against that sorry squad in Cincinnati, right? And shine a little bit. And then because he probably will play decent against the Bengals, he'll get the 3rd game. And then at that point, you'll hear Matt Nagy come to the podium and say, we need a spark. We're going to change, and we're going to give Justin Fields an opportunity. And that's what's going to happen.
Go ahead and continue on with that division.
So I think he'll come in week 4. The rest of the division, the Lions are who they are, man. The Lions, you know what I mean? I don't know what the Lions are doing. The coach up there is kind of strange to me, you know what I mean, with the biting of the kneecaps and stuff like that. But hey, the Lions are who they are. I think they have some talent at wide receiver, no doubt. But you got Jared Goff in there. You don't really have a running game, and defensively they're atrocious. And their offensive line is bad. They were worse than us last year. So, I don't see the Lions being a threat. Minnesota has Kirk Cousins. Let's put it at that. You know what I mean? I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins. Never have been. Never will be. Kirk Cousins is who he is. He's just
all can't be perfect. It's all good. Y'all can't be perfect. It's good. It's okay.
So Kirk. It is what it is with him.
All I'm saying, if we had Kirk Cousins the last year, we would have went 10-6.
But y'all didn't want to pay him, though. Y'all didn't want to pay him.
I wanted to pay him.
So you wanted to play Kirk Cousins, but you didn't want. Wow. Okay, so Dak doesn't deserve it, but Kirk Cousins, he did.
No. Sometimes you pay what you know, based on based on what you see them do. I've seen Kirk Cousins play well. He didn't take a lot of chances. That's my biggest thing. If it was 3rd and long, he was going to throw 5 yards. You know what I'm saying? That's just what he was going to do because he was afraid of making mistakes. That's my biggest thing. So I can see why they didn't pay him, because he wasn't going to, like I said about Dak, he was not going to put a team on his back and win games. He just wasn't going to do it because he was just too scared. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, you good.
Yeah. So that's Kirk Cousins could. He was very accurate. He could put the ball on the money. You know what I'm saying? Right. Absolutely. So I just think with that quarterback play, with Kirk not having to do too much with that defense, they definitely could have won a lot of games. Understanding
I got you.
Washington's quarterback play was atrocious. Atrocious.
It's like that every year, though. You should be used to it.
It wasn't like that. We had a couple of sparks.
A couple of sparks.
Yeah,
flickers.
The thing about it is with Washington last year, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about Washington. Mm-hmm. Every single year, with every single quarterback, whether they were good or not, people laughed at them. I always had hope. I was like, they're not as bad as people are making them out to be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We had Jason Campbell. We had, Mark Brunell. I was like, they can win some games. Whenever they had that bum QB out there, I actually never
say his name.
I'm not going to say his name.
I'm
never going to say his name. The Ohio State quarterback. That last year was the first time ever where I was like, I don't think we're going to score any points. Like literally, I never liked watching the game. I would, I didn't have any hope.
Well, Dwayne Haskins.
His name was banned from my show. You could call him DH if you want to. We're not going to say his name. We're not going to give him. I don't want my 12 subscribers to hear his name ever again.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Hey, I can't deny it, man. It was tough. He didn't have. Dwayne was like, he was immature. Let's put it that way. I think he's got skills, but he's a little immature.
But we'll see. I mean, he's in one of the best
Programs. Yeah.
one of the best programs organizations you can be in with the Steelers. So if he can't be successful in Pittsburgh, then he might as well sign a contract with Bishop Sycamore. You know what I'm saying? So that's to be his next location if he can't make this work.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll get back to the NFC North. I touched on them. I touched on Minnesota. Minnesota, I'm not sold on. Defensively, I think their secondary is bad. I don't think they're really good. I think they have a real good running back. They have a nice wide receiver in Justin Jefferson, and that's pretty much it, man. Minnesota is who they are. They'll be 8-9, maybe 9-8. They'll be somewhere around there. We'll probably beat them. Though. Green Bay. What can you say, man? I mean, I hate them. I hate Green Bay with a passion. Um, Aaron Rodgers was 48-4 last year. You know what I mean? I hate even saying that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Um, I think Green Bay, because of the situation and the dynamic that they have going right now, I don't think this whole last dance vibe that they trying to do and posting pictures of Michael Jordan when you haven't won Super Bowls like that. You got one and it was over, you lucked into that one. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? But Green Bay will be tough. They'll be good because they're balanced as well, right? So I look at teams and I say, hey, are they balanced? Can they play some defense? Yeah. They got Jair Alexander. They got, you got some good defensive guys. Adrian Amos, guys in the secondary that can play. You got some decent pass rushers who can get after people. So they'll win games. They'll be good, right? So I give them that. It just depends on the dynamic with Aaron Rodgers and the organization. If he goes out there, and I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he'll play his game probably. And if you notice, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like taking chances. He throws the ball away more than anybody in the NFL, matter of fact. That's why his numbers are so low. He only throws. He takes no chances. Let's put it that way. But he's good. No, he doesn't take chances like that, bro. You got to watch the games. I promise you, he doesn't. You really got to look at him. I mean, he gets some open receivers and things like that, and he hits guys. But the chances, he doesn't take chances like a gunslinger would, like a Brett Favre, like Dan Marino. Like he doesn't take those chances. If the guy is not open, he ain't throwing him the ball. He's not giving his receiver a chance to make a big play. That ain't happening with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay,
I'm telling you, you gotta watch the game.
I do. I've seen those. I've seen the passes to what I'm saying. And you've seen them against the Cowboys, making them sideline plays. Where it's this much room. You've seen them.
You talking about Devontae Adams?
But not Devontae Adams, the tight end. Remember that when he broke the Cowboys' heart and hit him on the sideline where nobody else could catch the ball. Yeah. He's deadly accurate even on the run. So
he's accurate. He's accurate. I feel like he just doesn't take chances like most quarterbacks do. He throws the ball away. His number of throwaways is tremendous. Like he doubled somebody at one point. Like the person who was in second and throwing the ball away, like uncatchable pass, he was like double that person. That's all I'm saying.
I hear
you. So, but he is accurate. I'm not knocking him. It is what it is with Aaron Rodgers. But like I said, the dynamic between him and the front office or him and the coach, that's going to be interesting to see. That's going to be real interesting to see. Because if you listen to his press conference, he went in and he bashed everybody in his press conference in training day, right? Or in training camp. So is he going to have that type of attitude, that type of energy all year? If so, I don't see how they put up 13-3 like they did the last 2 years. So I'm looking at them to take maybe a step back, maybe drop down to 11-5, or what would you say, 11-6 maybe. So we could battle them if we could get a cheap victory, then we could take it. But I figure us falling in second place in that division. I'm not going to be a homer and say, hey, they're winning the division. I'm not going to say it.
Well, I feel that there's going to be the Packers that wins, and I think the Packers are going to win because the Bears are going to give them a head start by starting Andy Dalton. I think that clearly everybody sees that Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. However, they told Andy Dalton that he was going to start, so they're trying to say, well, we're going to give him a chance. You can't look at anything that anybody's seen unless there's something going on in practice that we don't see, where you see, well, yeah, Andy Dalton gives you a better chance to win than Fields. So basically, the Bears are going to spot the Packers 3 or 4 games. So with that being said, you give Aaron Rodgers a head start, it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? So Minnesota, I mean, we know that Dalvin Cook's going to get hurt at some point in time.
Yep.
So it just depends on when he gets hurt, on how well they do. And then the Lions, I love the Lions. They're my second favorite team. I never say that in public because
nobody does except Mac.
It's the Lions, but I just think that Goff can't carry a team, and he would have to. Swift is kind of, I don't know. He's been in a little bit of trouble a little bit. They're saying he's really not in shape and coming off an injury. Goff will have to carry a team, and he doesn't have Cooper Kupp, and he doesn't have Woods. He doesn't have those guys to lean on. You don't have great route runners. So I think the Packers are going to definitely win the division. The Bears are going to start slow, and then they'll put Fields in, and they'll go on a little run, but it won't be enough. They should make the playoffs still. And that's how I see it going, man. I'm pretty simple, short to the point. But yeah.
The thing that I don't understand about Chicago, right, is everybody sees it. There's no denying that he's more talented than Andy Dalton in every way out there. This is the problem that I have that I don't understand with Chicago and Matt Nagy. Number one, you owed Andy Dalton nothing. All you owe him is $10 million that you signed him for. That's it. A game check. That's all he gets. You don't owe him the ability to start. You don't owe him a chance. He's coming here just like Justin Fields. They got here at the same time. You know what I'm saying? They're both in the first year in Chicago. So he has no ties to the locker room. He got no ties to the city of Chicago. None of that. So I don't understand that part of it. And the second thing that I don't understand about Matt Nagy starting Andy Dalton over Justin Fields is when you look at the situation, how can you go into the locker room and say, hey, Khalil Mack, hey, Akeem Hicks, I know y'all been holding us down on the defensive side for 3-4 years. We're going to run with Andy Dalton, and he does not give us the best chance to win. We got a guy that could probably put up 25 points a game, 30 points. But we're going to run with the guy who may get us 15 to 18, and we're going to depend on y'all to hold him down again. Or Allen Robinson. I know you're in a contract year. You want to get paid, but we're going to put Andy Dalton out here who's not as good at throwing the ball as Justin Fields. He could probably get you the ball much better than Andy Dalton would, but, hey, we're going to run with Andy Dalton. How do you go in the locker room and tell those players that? They put in blood, sweat, and tears. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the dynamic goes. We'll see, the Chicago fans are tough. They'll start to boo after a little bit, and then,
they booed him in preseason, bro. Booed him in preseason. At one point in time during the game, they was chanting, "We won Fields" in the first quarter of the game. And Andy Dalton was playing. We won Fields. They were chanting it. 60,000 people. So the Chicago fans, man, they're not gonna be nice to him. I promise you that.
Yeah. Maybe Eddie can come back and back up Dak like he did last year. So we've kind of broken down the division. Before we get to the Super Bowl predictions, what's your team that will be a team that won't be easy out this year? As far as maybe they don't make a playoff run, but they're going to be a tough team to play every single week. What team do you think is out there who fits that category?
Man, the funny thing, a tough team that's going to be tough to play every single week in and week out. They're going to be in every game. Man, it's several teams like that, man. I could say Washington. I should say Chicago. I'll say Buffalo, the Rams, and I'm picking teams that have good defenses. Anytime your defense keeps you, they can play, then you're going to be in every single game. It's going to be a tough game. If you can make it physical and you can beat somebody up, that makes the game difficult. That makes it hard. So I think those four teams will be tough ones. And I think a team that people look over so often, but they're always in it, Pittsburgh, man. For whatever reason, they're always in it. They're always in the talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got their ups and downs, no doubt, but they're always in it. They're always there. So I think Pittsburgh will be a team that's not an easy out. You go in and you're playing Pittsburgh, you know it's going to be a tough game. You got to be on top of your game in order to come away with the W.
Team I was thinking about that I think just their year, I kind of mentioned it, and not their year to kind of, win a Super Bowl, but have a real breakout year with the breakout players, the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals have everything in place to, surprise a lot of teams. Kyler Murray with his dual aspect of his quarterback play. You have quarterbacks like Hopkins and Green. You improved yourself on defense, adding J.J. Watt and a couple players. I mean, I think that they have a potential to, like I said, really be a tough out. It's going to be hard to defend their offense. Yeah. And then their defense got a little bit better. So that's a team I'm looking at personally.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
And I think the next thing is, as teams get better, obviously there's some teams that have to fall back a little bit. Mm-hmm. What team do you think has been played well last year that won't be as good as they were last year because of either the competition is getting better or they've just made dumb decisions, had personnel decisions or whatever? What do you think?
It's hard to say. I think a team that could struggle, let's put it that way. Can I use that word?
Yeah.
They may struggle more than what they did before in the previous year. Is believe it or not, I'm going to go with man, that's a tough one. That's a good question though. Who would struggle more?
While you think about it, I'll tell you mine.
All right.
One is obvious. The Houston Texans. Obviously, you go from having Deshaun Watson to Tyrod Taylor, and the rest of your team is, you just losing everybody. It's going to probably fight for one of the worst teams in the NFL. And you see what happens when massages go the wrong way and trade talks go the wrong way. You go from being, having a top 5 quarterback and having a chance to, do a lot of things in the playoffs to, fighting for your next QB in the draft. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but the team that I think are going to do the step back, and I already mentioned it, was Tampa Bay. And I said that just because last year they won the Super Bowl. They got all their starters back. They got an all season together. Everything is in their roadway or in their path to be successful. But I just don't think that they are going to be as successful as they were before. So Tampa Bay's going to do a little step back. And then, of course, the Texans are going to crash and burn.
Yeah. I didn't think about the Texans because they were sorry to me last year. You know what I mean? They were dependent on Deshaun Watson, of course, but to me they just were terrible last year. But yeah, anytime your quarterback is more concerned with getting his glutes rubbed, man, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Gluteus maximus don't need to be rubbed on that much, man.
Nope.
So you got the massage going, so that's a problem. But I'm gonna say this team as well. I'm gonna say Seattle, and I'm gonna say Seattle because I believe that they're gonna have they're in a tough division. Those games are gonna be tough. San Francisco, even though they're young, they're probably gonna have Trey Lance in there at some point. Even though that's the case, their defense is tough. They're just gonna be a tough game to play, right? You got the Rams over there, who's the best defense in the league last year. And then you got the, Arizona Cardinals, who you're high on, right? So that's going to be a tough division. I think Seattle comes back. The days of Seattle going 11-5, 12-4, you know what I mean? Just week in and week out, just being good. I think they'll slide back, and I could see them going, 10-7. I could see them going maybe 9-8. I could see that happening to Seattle because they're going to fall off. They're going to take a step back. They got a good passing game. You know what I mean? But I could see them taking a step back.
All right. Makes sense. Now we get to the predictions for the Super Bowl. So give me your AFC and NFC championship games, and then who will ultimately win the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, I'm going to take in the AFC, I'm going to go Pittsburgh to get to the AFC Championship game, and they're gonna play the Chiefs probably. And I'm gonna go Pittsburgh to the championship, to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm gonna go there.
In the AFC, I'm gonna say the Chiefs and the Browns.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have the Chiefs prevailing as well. You got the Steelers. I got the Chiefs. So
okay.
What about the NFC?
In the NFC, the NFC is a battle, man. The NFC is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be hard in the NFC because there are teams. There's nobody the head and shoulders above. I don't believe, and I'm like you. I think Tampa Bay, they're primed to fail because so many people are saying they could go undefeated. They could be perfect, 20-0. That would be unheard of. And it's like so many people are saying that could actually, be their downfall. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say Tampa Bay is going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to say I'm definitely not saying Green Bay because that's like almost against my religion. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go Cowboys.
Of course. Cowboys versus who?
Chicago.
And the Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl. So you have the Cowboys and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Okay. And who you have winning? You have the Patrick Mahomes, the real Patrick Mahomes, or the one that's paid like Patrick Mahomes?
No, the Cowboys don't. I don't think the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl. I took that pick on a flyer, man. It's a flyer, man. I gotta really dig in deep to it, but I'm gonna ride with it. And I'm gonna say Pittsburgh gonna win it. Pittsburgh gonna win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, you did say Pittsburgh. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh beats the Cowboys, and we've seen that matchup quite a few times in history. So we're going to see it again, according to Beanie. I think I said the Chiefs. I think in the NFC is going to be the Rams and the Packers. I think that it is going to be the last dance. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to beat Matt Stafford. And at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. So it's not going to be the full last dance because,
So you took the safe pick, bro. You took the safe pick. I tried to make it interesting.
I did
the Rams and the Packers and the Chiefs and who?
The Browns. The Browns ain't a safe pick.
Okay, that's your only not safe pick, but everybody.
But that's why I believe the Smitty Woo show stands on their credibility. And if I come on here and say Washington and the Lions, what do you think is going to happen?
Exactly.
I think Washington will make the playoffs. They will do well, but I just think they're not the best. They're not in the top maybe 5 teams in the NFL. I don't think. So
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think your picks are on point, man. Definitely on point. I was trying to I'm just trying to pick a little different. That's all. I don't like certain teams,
Of course.
I can't pick the Packers. Even though, the Packers are, 13-3 2 years straight, man. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't go with that. I can't do it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on, man. Before you head out, man, tell us what you're doing. You're busy. You got all different type of things going on. What you got coming up, man?
Man, a little bit of everything, man. You know what I mean? Trying to stay busy. I stay focused. I work daily, man. Just hustling, grinding, trying to make things happen. I do a podcast, do the Bears podcast. I got another one that's jumping halfway through in the middle of September. It'll be popping off. And that one deals with everything, deals with all sports. So, I'm looking forward to that one. Really, that's like my creation, you might say. Other than that, man, just trying to stay busy, trying to stay active,
Yeah.
Got a little son. He's 4 years old. So trying to keep him healthy. Yeah, keep him healthy.
When is he going to be a guest on your show, man?
I don't know, man. He talks a lot about basketball right now.
Yeah.
He loves basketball. He'll watch football. But when basketball's on, oh no. No, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He loves basketball. So
cool, man. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by. Obviously we'll do it again. But to everybody else, we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Smitty Woo Show, and we are out.